Hey artists and artlovers, welcome back to another episode. I hope you are fine and doing well. Those who follow me on Instagram may have seen some stories about the hyper realistic eye drawing I've been working on lately. And I know most of you are eagerly waiting for this tutorial. But if you are not the one who thinks he or she can draw something like this, then let me tell you that there's no rocket science in this. It's all about practice and patience. If you are a beginner, you just have to invest some extra time and efforts than a person with higher skill level. So here's the deal. Follow the tutorial, upload the results on Instagram and tag me in the post. And I'll feature all of the results in my Instagram profile. So best of luck for your drawings and let's get started. So as you can see, the outline is ready. And now I'm going to use these graphic pencils from Derwent to shade or render the sketch. You don't need all these different grades of pencils. Just grab a B, 3B, 4B, 6B and 9B and you are good to go. And the paper I used for all of my drawings is an ordinary hard white chart. You can find these charts from any nearby stationery shop. The length and width of the paper and grid reference is 20 by 30 cm, approximately the same size as an A4 printing paper. And by the way, I drew this whole outline using grid method, and the link of the grid reference is in the description. And the step-by-step tutorial on how I drew this outline is available for patrons. You can also find the link of my Patreon profile in the description. So first of all, I'm going to render this iris portion, and I'll be using this B pencil for this purpose. I always prefer shading layer by layer because it's easier for a learner to understand and also easier for me to draw and teach. And by the way, you can also find the real-time tutorial on my Patreon profile. Link is in the description as always. So as you can see, I'm done with this base layer and now I'm gonna use this soft synthetic watercolor brush to blend the shade. And make sure you blend the shade slowly and smoothly or else you will mess up the whole base layer. Okay, now grab a 9B or whatever darkest shade you have and fill this pupil with a darker shade. Make sure you leave this V-shaped area for highlight. Okay, now grab a 3B pencil and shade this upper region of the iris. Okay, now it's time to add some texture in the iris and I'm gonna add a base layer with the same 3B pencil. The texture is pretty simple in this case. You just have to add these faded parallel lines starting from the outer end and ending in the middle. Now blend the lines using a dry brush. Okay, now grab your 6B pencil and darken the texture lines. You can also add some random short lines in the middle portion. Blending again with a dry brush. Now grab your 9B pencil and darken the starting points of the texture lines. Now fill this upper portion with a darker shade. Actually, this darker portion in the iris is the reflection of this upper eyelid. Okay, so now I'm gonna draw these eyelash reflections using an HB or B pencil. And I'll be using this Rotring 300 mechanical pencil with HB leads. You can use any ordinary wooden pencil for this purpose. I just love drawing with mechanical pencils. Just add some curved lines along this dark eyelid reflection. Okay, now grab a 9B pencil and darken these eyelashes reflection. Now add some shades between the lines and also darken the shades near the edges of the iris. Now grab a B pencil and add these short random lines along the boundary of the pupil. Now grab a 3B pencil and darken these lines. You can also extend some of these lines to make them look more realistic. Now add some shade below the highlight and blend the shade with a draw brush. And also blend some of the texture lines and eyelash reflection. And fill the extra white areas in the upper portion with a medium shade. Okay, now grab your Tombow Mono Zero razor or any sharp tip razor you have and add some highlights between the texture lines. Now extend some of the texture lines to merge them with the highlights. Now darken the lower portion using a 9B pencil. And add a lighter shade on the boundary of the iris. Okay, now grab a white jelly roll pen or an ordinary whitener or correction pen and add these white highlights on the iris. You can also add some white lines between the texture lines. Okay, so as we are done with the iris, let's move on to the upper eyelid. Grab a 9B pencil and darken the outlines of the eyelid. Now fill the inside with a darker base shade. Please note that the shade on the left is slightly darker than the right side. Now blend the shade with the dry brush. Okay, now grab the same 9B pencil and start darkening the eyelashes. And according to the reference image, don't extend the lines to the lower end of the eyelid. I will correct these few lines later. Start the lines from the middle portion of the eyelid and finish them according to the outlines. Darken the lines slowly and smoothly, or else you may get a messier result in the end, because it's all about patience. You can also add some extra lines to fill in the white spaces. So as I said earlier, I'm gonna erase these extended eyelashes and fill the portion with a darker shade. And you can also add these small hairs in the starting portion of the eyelid. Okay, now I'm gonna grab this B pencil and fill this clear, or you can say this white portion of the eye, with a lighter base shade. Now blending with a dry brush. Okay, now grab your 3B pencil and add a slightly darker shade in this upper portion of the sclera, or you can say below the eyelid. And blend the shade. Darken the shade slightly with a 9B pencil. Okay, so now I'm gonna grab this mechanical pencil with 0.5 mm HB leads and draw these blood vessels in the white portion. Okay, now fill the other side with a B shade and darken the eyelid with a 9B pencil. Okay, now grab a 3B and add a darker shade in the corner. Now grab your correction pen or jelly roll pen and add these dotted white lines below the eyelid. And slightly blend the starting end with a dry brush. Okay, now grab your 6B and fill the remaining portion of the upper eyelid with a darker shade. Now take any sharp tip pencil and darken the outline of the highlight. And fill the remaining portion with a 3B shade. And also add a few small hairs in the corner of the eyelid. Blend the shades and also add some darker shade in the corner and around the highlight. Okay, now moving on to the upper portion of the eyelid. Just grab your 3B pencil and fill the portion with a base shade. Blending with our dry brush. Okay, now grab your 6B pencil and add this second layer. Okay, now use this same 6B and add these parallel lines in the upper portion, and it will work as the skin texture. Repeat the same process on the lower side and merge the lines together. Now grab your correction pen or jelly roll pen and fill the upper part with small dots. And add some dotted white lines between the texture lines. Fill this whole portion with a similar texture. Repeat the same process on the other side. Now grab a sharp tip pencil and add this circular texture around these white lines. Now grab your 9B pencil or any darker shade you have and darken these eyelashes. You can also extend some of them if you like. Now fill the remaining portion with this similar skin texture. And add a small white line on the left side of each hair. By the way, you can also skip this step if you don't have a jelly roll pen. This isn't compulsory. Now grab a lighter grade pencil and blend these extra white lines. Okay, now moving on to the lower eyelid. Again, the real-time tutorial of this drawing is available for patrons. You can find the link in the description. So as always, I'm gonna fill this whole portion with a lighter base shade and then blend with a dry brush. Now adding the second layer with a 3B pencil and blending the shade. Now grab your 4B pencil and darken these rough outlines of the eyelashes. You can also add a few extra hairs if you like. Now grab your 3B pencil and add a slightly darker shade around the hairs to make them look a little bit blurry. Now blending with a dry brush. Now add the third layer with a 4B and blend the shade. Now grab your Mono Z eraser or any sharp tip eraser and add these white lines, or you can say highlights, in this portion of the eyelid. Now grab your jelly roll or correction pen and add these highlights above the eyelid. You can also add some highlights in the base of the hairs. Okay, now grab your sharp tip razor and add these random white lines in the eyelid. Now add some darker lines between these lines using a sharp tip pencil. Just place a piece of paper below your hand and slide the paper slowly and in a wavy movement. Blend the extra lines and your skin texture for lower eyelid is ready. So moving on to the upper background, and as always filling with a base layer of B and blending the shade. Adding the second layer with a 3B and blending the shade. Adding the third layer with a 6B, and this time I'm not gonna blend it. Because it already looks like a skin texture. Okay, now moving on to the lower portion, repeat the same process for this one. Add a base layer of B and blend the shade. Now add second layer using 3B and blend it. Now take your 6B pencil and add some darker shade in this region. Also add some darker lines in between the shade as a skin texture and wrinkles below the eye bag. Okay, now add a darker shade below the teardrop with the same 6B pencil. Now add some texture lines below the teardrop and eyelid with a 6B pencil. And blend the shade. Now fill the teardrop with a 3B pencil and blend the shade. Okay, now grab your sharp tip razor and add this curved shaped highlight below the teardrop and above the shadow. And add these random highlights in the upper portion. You can also fill them with a correction pen or jelly roll pen to make them look more realistic. And add some white dots around the chair and blend them slowly and smoothly to make them look like a skin texture. Now adding some finishing details. And here you go, your hyper realistic eye drawing is ready. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, you can find the real-time tutorial on my Patreon profile. And you can also start supporting me on Patreon for exclusive content every month. And you can follow me on Instagram for more tips, tricks and BTS content. Secondly, I have invested so much time making this video for you guys, and it would be a really big help if you share it with your friends and social media groups. And don't forget to tag me in your eye drawing for a feature on Instagram. So thank you so much for watching, keep learning, keep drawing and have a nice day.